From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Studio One. I'm Morgan Goulding.
And I'm Kari Strandberg.
Today on the show, social media makes it easier to contact others. But sometimes this leisure activity is taken too far. We'll talk to a police officer about how excessive contact can become stalking.
Also, many students struggle with deciding what to do after graduation. Those who do make up their mind are faced with an unstable job market. Coming up, learn about what's changing for graduates. But first, the man suspected of leading the terror attacks in Paris, which left 129 people dead, was killed during a raid Wednesday. Investigators are unsure if Abaid Abaoud killed himself or was killed. Police fired about 5,000 rounds of ammunition during the operation. 7 men and a woman were detained by police in the raid. Prosecutors say the suspects appeared to be prepared to act in another possible attack. The terror group ISIS is claiming responsibility for the attacks. The price of oil is falling, which is good news for many drivers. The price per barrel dropped below $40 for the first time since August. Oil prices have fallen 14% this month alone. Experts say the fall is influenced by U.S. oil production growth and a strong dollar. The price is hovering around or below $2 per gallon. It's common for college students to utilize taxi companies. A new and more efficient car service is coming to more college towns around the country. Uber is a taxi company that uses independent drivers who drive people around. The University of North Dakota is currently in the process of trying to bring the service to Grand Forks. The Student Senate recently voted to use Senate funds to convince Uber to come to town.
For maybe that student that doesn't want to bring a car their first year and they want to go get some groceries or run some errands or something like that, Uber's a great way to do that.
As Uber uses an app that can be downloaded on cell phones, allowing people to request a driver with shorter wait time than standard taxi companies. While Grand Forks is still on Uber's radar, student government is waiting to see if it will be sending its business to UND.
Some confusion over drinking while pregnant has been set straight for expecting mothers. A new report from the American Academy of Pediatrics advises that there is no amount of alcohol that is safe to drink during any trimester of pregnancy. As detection methods become more sensitive, recent studies have revealed the subtle effects of prenatal alcohol exposure. Mothers who drink alcohol during pregnancy can put their fetus at risk for developing fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. This is an umbrella term for a group of conditions that can cause physical, behavioral, and learning problems in a child.
The job search can be an exciting journey for upcoming graduates. However, global job markets may not be able to support the next working generation.
As high school students begin searching for jobs, many factors come into play. At the Northern Valley Career Expo, high school students are exposed to jobs offered in North Dakota.
It introduces students to the companies on a show floor where they have interactive exhibits that get kids excited about that industry.
This expo provides incentives for the young workforce to stay in the state.
The projections are that we will need more people to fill the jobs that are already here in the future.
But this is not a common trend on the global job market.
According to the World Bank, 600 million jobs will need to be created in the next 10 years. This could be a problem for today's young people.
On top of the stress of finding work, research from NerdWallet shows the average retirement age for today's youth may soon be 75.
Your first few decades in the job market are your best friend in terms of planning for retirement.
There are many things you can do to find that dream job and establish financial security. Some people use career services to help with interview skills, resume writing, and cover letters. It also helps to know where to look.
I would tell students that there are plenty of career opportunities right here in the Upper Red River Valley.
Be proactive and be planning right now.
Networking at events like this and building unique skill sets can help these young people plan for a promising financial future. With photographer Nick Mullen, I'm Alex Amon, reporting for Studio One.
Job Service North Dakota says the state's unemployment rate for September was a low 2.2%. That's much lower than the national rate of 5.1%. And that's the news for now.
Thanks, Kari. Let's go now to Emily Pogatshnik for the weather news. Emily?
Thanks, Morgan. Here in the weather studio this week, we've been taking a look at some crazy weather that's happened down in Kansas earlier this week. Starting off with some tornadoes, about 23 tornadoes were reported in Kansas around the state, and many of them were touching down after sunset. This is a pretty late outbreak of tornadoes that spanned across 3 states in Tornado Alley. The day later, Interstate 70 in Kansas was closed due to blizzard-like conditions, where there are many reports of motorists stranded in northwest Kansas due to the extreme snow and winds gusting up to about 50 miles per hour, made those the 15 inches that fell create some higher drifts in the area. And for those of you who like winter, I have some great news for you. Winter is finally on its way. We'll take a look at a couple low pressure systems that created the systems that we saw earlier in the week. We have this low pressure system here in southern Minnesota with a couple of fronts hanging off of it, and that's what created that crazy weather in southern parts of the country. And the second low pressure system here in southern Canada that has this pretty strong cold front behind it with a lot of cold air. As this low pressure system made its way towards the first one, they actually ended up merging together, creating a stronger system with lots of wind around this area of the country. And in North Dakota, I know the wind gusts were so high that it actually tipped over a semi-trailer on the highway. And as we continue to saw this low pressure system make its way up into the northern part of the world, we saw the cold front there elongate down and bring a shot of cold air down to the southern part of the United States. And with that winter weather coming, the roads can get a little bit treacherous, so you want to be careful on and be safe on where you go for the winter season. And not a whole lot of people are as interested in the weather as meteorologists are, but there are some people who are more in tune with it.
With winter just around the corner, most people look forward to snow, hot chocolate, or the holidays. But others can expect something else with the cold weather.
You'll have a lot of patients that do have arthritis come in and they'll state, geez, you know, the weather must be changing, my knees ache, or the weather must be changing, my neck hurts a little bit more now.
This increased arthritic pain from colder weather is unfortunate, since arthritis can be difficult to live with.
You're going to have a lot of stiffness and pain in the joints, anywhere from mild pain to severe pain, depends upon the type of arthritis.
Galstad says that, in turn, causes stiffness in the joints and then lack of mobility. He says there are ways to counteract the negative effects of weather.
What people can do is be aware of the weather, and if it's going to be changing, wear the proper clothing. If you keep your joints warm, heat generally can help with arthritis.
Some people with arthritis say they know when changing weather is on the way.
There really isn't a lot of scientific data to support people's claims that they can predict the weather.
Regardless of whether or not they can predict the weather, people with arthritis can certainly feel the weather. This is Mike Rouser reporting for Studio One.
And there are more than 100 different types of arthritis affecting more than 50 million adults and more than 300,000 children in the United States. And that brings us to our weather question of the week. What day signifies the official start of winter? Is it November 19th, November 26th, December 1st, or December 22nd? And Morgan, this day is also known as the winter solstice or the shortest day of the year.
All right, thanks, Emily. Let's go now to Kari for the sports story of the day. Kari?
Thank you, Morgan. It may be argued that hockey fans at the University of North Dakota are some of the most devoted and passionate in the nation. A newfound technology is feeding spectator passions.
The Ralph Engelstad Arena is nicknamed the Taj Mahal of hockey. This hockey castle nestled in Grand Forks, North Dakota, engages spectators in many ways. The arena is trying one more thing.
It was pretty neat when we launched to be in a smaller market like Grand Forks, but to have that kind of technology that really wasn't available across the country. It was kind of nice for us to be kind of on the cutting edge for our fans.
This cutting edge has fans speaking volumes of what their favorite part of the experience is.
Throughout the week you get to watch the little clock counting down towards the game, so you know to go buy your ticket and when to start lining up.
Much easier to vote for our player of the game, and also it gives out the line charts after every game just to see who's going to be in the lineup tonight.
I think it's a good way to get other people involved too, not just students but also some of the people that are general admission.
All of these features may be found on the UND Game Day app. Any person with a smartphone can interact with the game.
We wanted to just create a kind of a one-stop shop for fans, make it easy, give them everything that they'll need before the game starts.
The app allows users to look at game day notes, line charts, standings, and the schedule.
to share those experiences, whether it's a great goal or just out with friends and family. It's fun to share those kinds of experiences, and this just lends itself perfect to that.
It's with the UND Game Day app that creates the spectator into more of an engaged fan. I'm Taylor Nelson, reporting for Studio One.
Fanex Entertainment System is the Winnipeg-based developer that helped to create the UND Game Day app. This app may be downloaded by either iPhone or Android users. And that's a sports story for today's show. Morgan, there's no doubt in my mind that UND has some of the best hockey fans in the nation. I think it's great that they added something a little extra for them on game day.
Yeah, I agree, and the fans already seem to be really enjoying it. Thanks, Kari. The National Center for Victims of Crime reports that in 2011, 7.5 million people were stalked in the United States. Coming up, we'll talk to an officer about what stalking is and what to do if you feel you're in danger.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
For me to go to college, it was a big step, knowing that I'm pursuing a better future for myself. When you know that you have a small system there that you can still find comfort in, it really makes a difference. The support here and everything that they offer for us, you know, the tutors, the free meals, the family, the friends, basically just somewhere for you to relax and be comfortable and find that home feeling again.
Yeah, okay, science meets imagination. Life changed by innovation. Through the future of our nation. Engineers the occupation. UND College of Engineering and Mines. Invest in your mind to stay with the times. Formulas, machines, and all that's in between. They teach it all from wall to help you succeed. Come on, it could be electrical, chemical, or civil. Our world-class staff will help you make it all official. Mechanical, petroleum, geology align at the
UND's College of Engineering and Mines.
Okay, become a leader, prove yourself among all your peers. Changing the world begins right here. You're not alone, but in the plan, we'll take your hand and help you stand with mentorship and advising. We'll do all we can. Okay, so if you want to join the party, simply calculate. The math adds up, so never think to hesitate. Education, leadership, and dreams combine at the UND College of Engineering and Mines.
Closed captioning for Studio One is supported in part by the Listen Center, enriching the lives of people who have intellectual disabilities with choices in community recreation.
Stalking is a crime in all 50 states, but these laws often don't stop those obsessed with following in another person's footsteps. Lieutenant Don Rasmussen of the University of North Dakota Police Department joins us to talk about this endangering crime. Thanks for joining us today, Don.
You're welcome.
First off, do you want to say, in your words, what is stalking?
Stalking is a crime against another person that the activities, the biggest part of it is the activities cause fear in the person that's being stalked. What makes it tough to decide what's stalking and what's not is some of the activities could resemble or look like normal courtship type stuff, you know, getting to know somebody and that kind of thing. But when it crosses the line and it makes the person be afraid or uneasy about what's happening, then that's a crime.
Okay, so what would be typically the most common signs of being stalked?
Someone showing up at wherever you're at, if you go down to the mall or you go to a store or something like that and a person shows up and they're there, if they're outside your classroom door when you get out of class or you go to class, maybe they're not in the classroom to start with, but they start coming to the class, they've enrolled in it because you're in the class. that could be a sign. If it makes you uneasy, then you need to report it.
Okay, so when would common courtship end and stalking begin?
When you get afraid, when it makes you afraid for yourself and your safety, for what's happening, then it's beyond normal courtship then.
Okay, and I know it's a super underreported crime. Why is that?
A lot of times the victim won't identify what's happening to them as a crime. Sometimes they think that if they report it to the police, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. And again, like any other crime, domestic type crime is the victim's going to blame themselves for what's happening to it. And there's all kinds of different reasons why, but mainly is they don't identify it as a crime.
Okay, so how are cases on campuses different than off campuses? Like, would it be easier to stalk on campus or not be easier?
What makes it easier to stalk on campus is we're kind of an enclosed community here. If you want to find out about somebody that you don't know anything about, there's plenty of places where you can go to check these people out to find out if you want to stalk them or not. The thing to remember though is a lot of the stalking that happens isn't a stranger. It's not one of those things where somebody just decides they're going to start stalking you. Usually there's a relationship, or there's been a relationship, and for whatever reason that relationship has ended, then you get stalking, and that's the most dangerous kind, is after the object of their affection, so to speak, has parted ways with them.
Okay, so have you seen like stalking change with social media, like the era of technology and all that? With the technology that's available out there right now, I've done a couple of presentations recently on stalking, and I tell people I don't go into the technology part of it, because that would be another hour or 2 or 3 just to cover that stuff. I tell them, I said, all you got to do is Google the apps that you can pick up, and you'd throw your smartphone away. All right, so what are some common misconceptions of stalking?
That it's harmless, that it's not hurting anybody. Unfortunately, a lot of the recent shootings in the area, New Rockford and out in the Iron Range, those I think probably were connected. There was some stalking activities involved, because you're looking at boyfriends, ex-husbands, that kind of thing. So there's some stalking involved in that, and that's the problem.
Okay. So are there common behavioral trends in stalkers?
There is no typical stalker. There's different types of stalking. You know, the former spouse erotomania, where you don't even have a relationship with the person, but for some reason you think that they're in love with you because they looked at you once a long time ago, and different things like that. They're just, some of them are hard to describe, that what sets them off. You just never know.
Okay. So lastly, what should someone do if they're feeling stalked?
Report it. Let somebody know. I would prefer that they report to the police. One of the things we need with a stalking report is repeated occurrences, more than one time. So the state's attorney like 2 or 3. So the sooner we can start keeping track of the contacts and stuff, the easier it is then to prosecute those.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, Don.
You're welcome.
All right. Many people use hobbies as an escape from everyday life. Learn how one group travels back to the medieval times for their relaxation. That story is next on Studio One.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Really admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
To have the future you want and a career you'll be proud of, you'll need a great education. The University of North Dakota can get you there with more than 225 degree programs, preparing you for today's fastest growing, high demand careers, like medicine and health professions, aerospace, business, engineering, and energy. Schedule your campus visit today at und.edu/go, because to succeed, you need to be exceptional.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
After grossing over $2 billion, the final chapter of the Hunger Games is setting up for its fiery finale. Katniss and the United Districts aim to overthrow the Capitol as they fight for change in Mockingjay Part 2. The movie picks up with Katniss as her nation is in full-scale war. Katniss and her gang of rebels try to liberate the nation's citizens as they plot to assassinate the villainous President Snow. She fought before and has learned how to survive, but this revolution is more than survival.
You know, in the first Hunger Games, she's just trying to save her sister, and then she's just trying to save Peeta. And, you know, this much bigger responsibility starts presenting itself.
The directors wanted to bring the Capitol to life in a brand new way. So they looked beyond Atlanta, which was the home of most of the production. They decided to film in France and Germany because of their historic and futuristic-looking sites. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 opens November 20th with a PG-13 rating. Technology continues to speed through today's society with a new creation that is hard for some to imagine. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak says there will be no human drivers in 20 years because of self-driving cars. These cars have raised many questions about safety. We wanted to know if self-driving cars would be an improvement to the car industry.
I think it'd be a cool idea, a really interesting idea. I think it'd definitely have some pros and cons, like in drunk driving, it could reduce accidents with that.
If it could be reassured that it's 100% safe, that it won't be any, I don't know, problems with the car.
Yeah, if it was accessible to the entire population and were reasonably priced and everyone is using it, yeah.
I think it's a good concept, but it definitely needs a few more fixes.
I think that would be a great idea because so many people are so distracted by current technology, whether it's their cell phones, people in the car, changing, you know, songs.
If it's considered safe, then I would consider testing it, but I would like to see, you know, the ratings and the opinions of the public first before I would do that.
A comment on Facebook from Alexander in Duluth, Minnesota. I think the idea of having a self-driving car is interesting. I personally wouldn't buy it just because I would like to be in control of my own life. Addie from Rochester, Minnesota says, I think it's a bad idea to have self-drivable cars. I do not see the need and purpose of having a car auto-steer for someone. I think this will cause more distractions and accidents.
People have been fascinated with medieval knights for centuries. Even though it's not time travel, one group is sending people on a quest to the past.
Oh no! On an autumn afternoon, those strolling through this public park may notice something unconventional. With swords, shields, and a touch of savagery, it all comes together for one purpose.
It's LARPing, live action role playing. My best definition, a bunch of nerds come out and safely beat each other.
Chris Touchtone is a part of Land's End, a group that gathers on Saturdays to play out medieval battles.
LARPing is an escape for me. I get to escape my everyday routine, my rut.
These enthusiasts have rules when it comes to combat.
Face from the neck up is considered illegal. You're not supposed to hit there. It happens, but it's not considered a kill shot.
There are many different types of games they play, including Kill Your Killer,
Get already, go away.
Rapture battles, and team fights.
A castle battle is basically where you have a wall that's separating two sides. The one side is trying to get in and the other side is trying to keep them out.
Their arsenal includes weapons like axes, daggers, hammers, and spears. And sometimes having the right weapon provides the perfect edge a warrior needs.
The Nerf weapons that they sell in Walmart do not fit our standards.
Chris and the rest of Land's End are ready to help anyone who has an interest in taking up arms.
We're always willing to show them the ropes, teach them how to play, and try and get them involved.
He says all it takes to get started in LARPing is showing up and being ready to have fun. With photographer Taylor Nelson, I'm Nicholas Moen reporting for Studio One.
Participants say LARPing is a free and family-friendly event. The only cost is for a weapon or costume production. Morgan, I think it's awesome that an activity like that can bring together so many different age levels.
Yeah, and they were getting so into it. The costumes were so cool. Thanks, Kari. Now Emily joins us in the studio with a final look at the weather. Emily?
As we take a look at our temperatures for the next week, you can actually see where that strong cold front we talked about earlier is going to divide the temperatures across the country, with most of that chilly air staying up in the northwestern part of the United States. Most of the country is going to expect some rain as well, with mainly dry conditions on the eastern coast and up in that northwestern corner where they're expecting chillier conditions. And that brings us back to our weather question of the week. What day signifies the official start of winter? And that is actually December 22nd. Most of the country is going to experience about 9.5 hours of sunlight, but the good news is that the days get longer after December 22nd. And Morgan, meteorological winter is a little bit different. It actually starts on December 1st, which was option C.
Okay, December 22nd does seem really late.
Yes, it does.
All right, thanks, Emily. And that's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information on our website.
From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.